But here I'm going to use the GyroCut to cut this out to make this pop-up card. And the question I get a lot is, what's the difference, in an X-Acto knife with the GyroCut? Well, one is, this blade rotates. So I'm holding it like a pen, but then it cuts like a knife. So this right here, you'll notice that the blade, like if it was a pen, basically where I'm drawing is cutting. But here I rotate that blade. I don't have to crank my wrist around. And then I trace that line. If you look closer, you'll see the blade rotating as I trace. So like if I had a pen in my hand and I wanted to trace that line, I just move my hand like I normally do with a pen. But here, that blade rotates and allows me to make that cut. And I'll try to lift that up and show you. See how that cut all the way through. So what else is different about the GyroCut in this craft knife, like a normal craft knife? What's the difference between a craft knife and the GyroCut is what I'm trying to say. We can see how this rotates, but also it's not a razor blade. It's a hardened steel chisel blade. So that's going to last longer than a razor blade. For normal use, it lasts about 4 months. One blade does. It just depends on how you're going to use it. But here again, I'll move the paper up so you can see it. You'll watch the blade rotate and not my wrist cranking around. The blade rotates. So it saves my wrist as I make the cuts. So there's that. So let me show you something unique about the GyroCut. You can cut circles, or in this case, it's the letter O, without turning your paper or cranking your wrist around. That blade is rotating to cut out this letter O. Now this letter O is uniquely shaped because of the project that it's in. Very detailed cut there. So the next thing I do is I take this end of the GyroCut and I trace over the dotted lines. This one right here is not dotted. I'll change that in the PDF. So this PDF, what I'm working with, is incorrect. I'll make that correction and then upload the correct one. So let's pretend there's a dotted line there, and I just basically score it with this end of the GyroCut. And so why do I do that? That's going to allow me to fold it in a later step. I use the steel ruler to make that fold, and this is the beginning of that little fold. Then I'm going to come down here and do the same thing what I did, but I do that with this is sort of the fold of the card. And you don't have to use the GyroCut in this project. You could use an X-Acto knife, but you could see how it's a lot easier with the GyroCut. And here we have another red line, so that means another valley fold. And you'll see the card pop up. Oop. And here you'll see that I added some cardstock to the word love behind that. So it pops a little bit better.